Hey guys, it is time for me to set up for my photo shoot this week, which is going to be for my D810 review, as well as some other things. I need to do the D810 review, the D810 versus D800 deathmatch, and probably also a review for the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens, which I got at the same time as I got the D810. So I need to set up for the shoot that can encompass kind of all of those things. I know I talked to you guys in last week's VIP show about how I wanted to do half of the D810 review here in the studio and then half of it outside. So obviously I'm setting up for the studio shoot right now. So I'm going to take you through, I'll fast forward through the parts where I'm like wrangling with the backdrop, and the rest of it I'll talk to you guys about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then at either this week's VIP show or next week's VIP show, I will actually go through the photos and I'll talk more about the actual shoot. But for right now, I want to take you through the setup. Okay, first I need to get this stuff cleared out of the way. This is what I have going on in the studio. You know, most days when I'm not shooting, I just put all the lighting up against the backdrop and stools and stuff. So I got to clear it out of the way. I will be using my strobes for this shoot. They are, well, they're one of my favorite things to use. I know that I can get the color balance spot on so that I can really showcase the lens and the cameras. So that's what I'm going to use today. I think I'm going to go with the white backdrop because I definitely want to do some higher key images, real bright, to show you, how great this camera really does look at the lower ISO settings. I will probably also want to do some lower light stuff, lower key stuff in the studio, but I don't think I'm going to use a black backdrop. I'll probably just lower my lighting and increase the ISO sensitivity so I can show you guys what that looks like as well. But I think I'm still just going to do it up against the white backdrop so that the white backdrop will either completely be blotted out and look black or turn just a really dark gray. So here I go. Okay, I pulled out a whole lot of paper and raised up the backdrop because I don't think I'm going to be on the ground at all for these. So it was okay to have some of the footprints and stuff, some of the dirty parts down below, but I needed to raise it up so that this stuff isn't going to end up, at the top of my photo, because I think I'm going to stand up or sit actually on one of these chairs. So I'll go ahead and put that down. I'm going to bring it, a good amount in front of the backdrop. And I'm going to set up speed lights actually now as well. So I've got the Alien Bees out and, reflector umbrella, shoot through umbrella. And now I need to do some blowing out of the backdrop. So that's what I'm going to do. I need to get speed lights. I am wondering if I can get away with one speed light behind me, but I'm just going to go ahead and get out both of them. Better safe than sorry. I need a tripod or a light stand. Here's one, but it has my zoom on it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I only need, inexpensive tripods, because I really just use them in the studio as, lighting stands or, for my speed lights, or, oops, I need to tighten my tighten my bungee. I usually, you know, that's all I use them for. I don't really need anything too robust. People always laugh at these things, but I don't know, they get the job done. There we go. Just balance it. So my homemade reflectors, I know I've talked to you guys about them before, but just in case you don't know about them, I just take a piece of cardboard. In this case, it's got a white piece of paper taped to it. This one's a white piece of cardboard. I got these like in, you know, these are the inserts to keep photos from bending in the mail. So that's what I have. And then bungee cords. So what these do is they just, you know, the light bounces off and it prevents it from spilling onto me, but it aims it all at this background. And, ooh, I probably just hit you guys, sorry. And so it spreads it out all on the background and then it just gets completely blown out. So I don't have to worry about in post-processing making sure that my background is, you know, I don't need to spot clean it or anything. It's just bright white. I also trigger these things optically using SU4 mode. I optically trigger it from my camera. Sometimes just the pop-up flash. A lot of times I'll have another speed light on it, on that camera. Whoa. I don't know if you guys just got that, but that was amazing. I knocked the SB400 down and I caught it. I have reflexes like lightning. And that's just a ball head on a light stand. Okay, so I typically angle these like a little bit out. I don't make them completely parallel to the background. So that's what I do. And power on these, maybe a half power, maybe full power. It kind of depends on what I end up doing with my camera and with the strobes too. I also want to make sure they're not actually in my photo. I have an extension cord, a triple-headed extension cord plugged in all the time over in the corner of the room so I can just plug everything in one place. And ideally route it around where people are going to be walking so that, you know, nobody trips. Because that's how duct tape wound up on that one. Oops. It hit the ground, but, you know, a little duct tape and it's still working. Okay. I have a light right here illuminating me, so I'm going to have to move it. Okay. So this is my fill light with a reflector umbrella on it. I have it on the silver side. The other side is gold. I find that it's just too yellow for me. The silver side is just, it seems to balance better, the lighting. And with my fill light, I usually have it on very low power. 1/32, 1/16, maybe 1/8, even when I'm doing a high key look, because I want to maintain, you know, dimension in my face. There needs to be some shadowing or else the lighting is just going to look super flat. Okay, and my shoot through umbrella over here, that's going to be my main light. And that one I will have at half power, maybe even up to full power. You know, I play it by ear, you know, every time. I kind of know ratios and where to start, but then I'll adjust from there depending on what I'm wearing, what my hair color is that day, and you know, all that stuff. And depending upon my models too. You know, everyone's going to be a little bit different how the light is going to play off of their skin tone and, you know, their hair color, their clothes, and all that stuff. And another thing, my fill light usually is going to be quite a bit farther away from me than my main light, because, you know, it's reflecting a ton of light. I just want that to just, you know, barely be illuminating me. And let's see, camera time. All right, I need my D810. With a quick release on it. I'm putting it on a tripod because I am doing this shoot on my own. I already have the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens on it. I think though that I'm going to start out using the 85 millimeter prime lens. The reason for that is that I already know how fantastically sharp that lens is. So I want to use a good prime lens that is super sharp to really showcase exactly how incredible this camera is in the studio. Not that the 24 to 70 isn't sharp, but you're really just not going to get any better than a prime lens. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that. All right, I found my 85 millimeter and got it onto the camera. Okay, so now I need a tripod, but before I do that, I'm going to look at my settings here. Okay, I am going to set the camera to manual. I don't want the exposure to change from shot to shot. I want it to be the same every time, because when I find the exposure that I want to leave it there, and then I go through kind of a series of poses where I know that will work with the lighting that I have, and I just make sure to pose, you know, in such a way that it should work. And then I am going to shoot in RAW because, you know, this is a review, and I think I might include at least one RAW image for you guys. Probably not for everybody, just for you guys. And even though I'm going to make these black and white in post-processing, you know, and this camera is such a powerhouse, there's no, you know, I don't need to shoot in RAW, but I'm going to. And I am going to, I'm leaving it autofocus right now, because what I'm going to do is actually have it, I'm going to autofocus on, you know, a light stand or something where I'm going to be, and then I'll switch it over to manual focus so that I'm within, or so that I'm in focus for each shot. I don't want it to refocus each time, because every so often it's not going to refocus on me. It's going to find, you know, something like the light stand that might be in the image, you know. So anyway, that's what I do. And speaking of making sure that I'm, you know, in focus, I need to make sure I'm within the depth of field as well. I like to start out at f4 when I'm in the studio, because it gives me a good amount of depth of field, so that if I move just a little bit, I should still be within, you know, within the nice crisp area. But like things like my background are not going to be in focus. In this case, my background should be blown out, but whatever, that's what I do. Let's see. That's pretty much it. You know, I don't really need to worry about anything else. I usually turn active D-lighting off if I'm going to be doing portraits, but I don't have it on right now anyway, and I'm shooting in RAW, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Tripod. Another one of my inexpensive tripods. Okay, what I'll do is I'll be moving this actually to about where you guys are to get myself started. And I will definitely move it around, but I like to have a couple of poses that I can do actually in each position for the camera. And then I'll move it, because, you know, everything changes when I'm moving the camera around, especially, you know, when you're the photographer, it's not, or when you're, you know, behind the camera being the photographer, it's not such a big deal, because you can see, you know, as you're moving what the lighting is doing. But when I'm running back and forth, it gets much more complicated. So I try to keep the camera in one spot for as long as I can. And I think that's it. I'll turn it on to interval timer. Oh, I need a speed light to trigger my strobes and my background speed lights. I have 3 for this purpose. And this thing will be on manual power. I'll start out at 1/32 power and see if that will work. I think that's actually usually where I end up, because that will have me not be illuminated by it, but it'll still trigger my all my lighting. Every so often I want to be slightly illuminated by it if I don't have quite enough light on me, and I'll increase the power, because why not have it do double duty, you know, illuminate me and trigger everything. That kind of makes me a little happy. But I believe that's it. That's all I have going on. Oh, white balance I'm going to set to strobe, which again, I'm in RAW, so, you know, I can make any adjustment I want in post-processing, but I don't like to post-process. You guys know that. So last thing, I will be sharing these images within the next few weeks, along with the review of the D810. That'll be the first thing that you guys will be seeing. And then in the VIP show, you guys will hear about, you know, post-processing and the settings that I actually ended up on. I did get, that won't be for a couple weeks, because I did get the okay to post the Fujifilm X100T review and the Nikon D750 review. So I'm excited to get those up for you guys in the next couple weeks. And then immediately following those will be the D810. That's it. I'll talk to you guys later.